What's going on, people? So, I forgot about this thing called Xcloud. You dig? And Xcloud, Xbox's basically way to play their games on any device, minus Apple. Minus Apple. Apple is not allowing this, but this could play a big part in Xbox success, especially in the digital market. And if Xbox can secure that W, then that takes a lot of steam away from Sony, who has set the standard for well over 20 years now. You feel what I'm saying? Think about it. PlayStation came out in 1995 and made disc games the normal for consoles. You feel what I'm saying? Before then, it was cartridges on the Sega Genesis, the N64, Super Nintendo, and so forth. Right? CDs were not a thing. And then you have PlayStation come out in '95, and they introduce playing on a CD, and then that becomes the norm. Okay, so now we have Sony introducing a new format into video games, and not only do they introduce a new format, it becomes the normal. I mean, think about PlayStation 1 sold 105 million units. You cannot deny PlayStation. You have single-handedly, for 3 generations, set the standard quo, if you will, for what is acceptable in the media form of gaming. Think about that, Sony. You own 4K. We're going into a generation where 4K is the norm. You feel what I'm saying? So you set the bar here again with the PS5 coming out, having the whole 4K. You dig what I'm saying? And you did it with the PS2 having the DVD drive. We saw the death of Sega because of it. It wasn't because the PS2 was this all powerhouse. It really wasn't. It was the weakest between the PS2, the GameCube, and the Xbox original. Yes, the PS2 was weaker than the GameCube and was weaker than the Xbox. What gave it that edge to go that extra mile and sell as many as it did was the bells and whistles. This is why I don't consider PlayStation 2 the greatest console of all time, because it wasn't the games that sold the system. It had a lot of games, but it wasn't the forefront reason to buy the PS2. Early adopters bought it, and even the early adopters, some of those early adopters only bought it because it was a cheap DVD player. And DVDs were the hot thing. It was the new format for VHS, like actually watching movies and stuff. DVDs were the new thing. So the PlayStation 2 really had a edge with the DVD because they were coming off of the CD. Something that Sega was just now getting into was the CDs with the Sega Saturn and the Sega Dreamcast. And Sony came out and hit them with that bam one time, and it was the DVD player being able to put out a better resolution on the DVD format that really hurt Sega. It wasn't the games. It wasn't the console's power. It was that DVD player. PlayStation 2 holds 2 asterisk marks by its name for greatest console of all time. One is the fucking thing only sold as well as it did because it had a damn DVD player in it, and that DVD player was the cheapest, best, and fastest way to get on to the DVD hype train, to jump on quick. That's why it sold so high. That's the number 1 asterisk. And number 2 is because of a technicality in brand recognition. From Nintendo, Nintendo has this thing called a DS, or dual screen, if you will. That is a brand, that is a handheld brand, which is sold way more than the PlayStation 2 has. It sold over almost 230 million. Yes, the Nintendo DS. If the console has DS anywhere in it, I combine those because the DS brand. You feel what I'm saying? And the DS without the 3DS has only sold about 1 million less, if that, than the PS2 by itself. Feel what I'm saying? By itself, the PS2 is like this when it comes to like how close it is. It's really neck and neck when you look at the numbers between the DS and the PS2. And people take the 3DS out because core consoles have to exist. But when we take the two asterisks out, one, PlayStation, you're not the number one selling console. And two, you couldn't be the number one selling gaming console because you were the number one selling damn DVD player. Because PS2 really was game second. Think about that. It sold 155 million plus units. Plenty of evidence to support what I'm saying about the DVD player. Plenty. All you gotta do is type that shit in on Google and just watch all the interviews and watch these people. Hey, I got it because it's a DVD player. Yeah, it's a DVD player. Maybe I'll play a game one day, you know. There's plenty of those. You know what I'm saying? So you have to take that into consideration. It's two asterisks, 2 marks next to the PlayStation 2 for greatest console of all time. In reality, it's Nintendo DS. Changing the whole landscape of gaming, which kind of right now, I think Nintendo is doing with the Switch, if you will, because it's portable and it's playing these console experiences now and not like 8-bit, like 2D. It's actually a full-blown, like this is basically the GameCube in your hand. The 3DS is basically a Nintendo 64 in your hand. The DS is obviously the Super Nintendo with 2 screens, and then of course you have the regular Game Boy all the way back to the black and white. This is all reiterations. Game Boy was a thing for a long time, and it just had different iterations of the Game Boy and little here and there's, but they were always able to go back and play certain things. So I always considered that one whole thing. So Game Boy as a thing in itself, you know what I'm saying? So handheld gaming is actually really popular. And I just closed my door, although I thought it was already closed. Anyway. But with PlayStation 5, you guys, you've been the ones to set the trend in gaming. I just went through how. Obviously, with the PS1 going to a CD format, PS2 went to DVD, PS3 again went to Blu-ray, jumping up to Blu-ray, PS4, you dropped the ball. Let's be honest, you stuck to Blu-ray. PS4 Pro should have had the 4K Blu-ray player in it, doing it. You invented it and you didn't do it. You dropped the ball this generation. You really did. How are you supposed to pick the ball up? Well, we're going all digital. We're moving to an all digital future. This generation coming up, there's one with a physical media drive and there's one without. And PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus are 2 examples of why this shit isn't going to fucking work. PlayStation, my God, it's an embarrassment. PlayStation Plus free games are garbage at best. Not talking about the games, I am talking about the offerings of games. PlayStation, you wait until the value of said game is 0. Absolute nothing. You understand what I'm saying? And then what's even worse is the community has quit talking about this game. You're not helping developers by giving their game away now when nobody's fucking talking about it. You don't see a re-interest in the game when PlayStation gets Resident Evil 1 free for in October. You're like, hey, it's Resident Evil. Hey, at least it's better than the last 4 months where it's been jack shit worth of interest. Like, your games are garbage. They're straight garbage and nobody cares. Nobody. Not one person have I heard this entire generation go, man, PlayStation is killing it when it comes to this month in, month out free games. Not once. Even when you had the PS3 and the Vita. Even when you had that, it got way worse when you dropped it. And you cannot deny that it didn't. It got way worse. And we gave them a pass because of how many games stacked up between those 3 systems. That's when you lost everybody. When you took away the Vita, when you took away the PS3 and only left us with the PS4 games, and knowing you can only give us 2 because you idiots couldn't figure out how to do backwards compatibility to save your lives, think about that. Xbox has been killing you since you dropped all 3, and they've been killing you even when you had all 3 for a good while. Christ, I remember at the beginning of this generation, years before I even got an Xbox One, which I got one in like 2015. It came out in 2013. Took me 2 years. So years. Okay? The reason I'm bringing this up is because they gave away this Insomniac game. I want to say it's called Sunset Overdrive. It's a weird zombie game. It's out there. It's actually pretty damn cool. And my point is, they gave that game away early in the life cycle of the console. You were out here giving away indie games at the beginning of the PS4 life cycle. How do I know that? Because I've had a PS4 since 2013. When the damn thing came out. You understand what I'm saying? I went off of watching each press conference and I was irritated with Xbox. That was what I wanted. I wanted Xbox to be good. I was really excited for it because the 360 had a very good life cycle. It had a lot of good games. It had a very diverse library. So I was excited for the Xbox One, and then 2013 happened, and that's why I waited 2 years. But when the PS4 came out and they didn't do what Xbox did, I was like, I guess I'm going to PlayStation again because Xbox just fucked up everything. So, with that being said, I think Xcloud could set the standard. And Xbox, you could really turn this whole all digital gaming around. And Sony, if you lose that ball, what do you have to offer? I'm just curious. What do you bring to the table if it's not setting the bar of anything anymore? What do you bring? You don't have legacy. It was destroyed this entire generation. Crash Bandicoot is on the Switch. Crash Bandicoot is on the fucking Xbox. Spyro is on the Switch and Spyro is on the Xbox. And guess what? Those are PlayStation 1 titles. When you talk about PlayStation 1, you bring those up. They're in the conversation. Well, now they're on Xbox and Nintendo. That hurts the legacy of PlayStation. Because now I don't have any need to go back to the PlayStation 1 library and pick that game up again. Because it's not exclusive to PlayStation. I can play it on my Xbox or I can play it on my Switch, and guess what? It looks better than the one on PlayStation. And I've been saying this about games. This is what's killing PlayStation a lot. Is one, they lost Resident Evil 1. When they lost Resident Evil 1 and it came to GameCube and showed its ass. I mean, I can't believe Sony didn't feel some type of way, but I think they did because there hasn't been one Resident Evil on any PlayStation handheld device. Not one, but Silent Hill has had 2 god-awful games. Just throwing that out there, okay? And then, this generation, what do we see? Resident Evil 2 and 3 get remade. Depending on your output, one or the other is going to be god-awful. And it's on both fucking Xbox and PlayStation. Not on the Switch yet. But it's on the Xbox and it's on the PS4. There's a time where Resident Evil was only on the PlayStation. There was a time where Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, 10-2, 12 were not available on Xbox or Nintendo. And PlayStation, for some reason, doesn't understand that you kind of need these major third-party exclusives because they mean something to your brand, to your name. The moment you lose that, your name just becomes irrelevant. So what do you have to offer, Sony? What, God of War? Really? Okay. What else? Gran Turismo. So basically, you go from being Sony to being Xbox, offering a shooter with Killzone, offering one RPG, offering, because you don't have any exclusive RPGs like that anymore. You have Horizon Zero Dawn, which is exclusive, which I don't know if that could ever not be, because I don't know the relationship between studios, but I'm pretty sure if you go and start showing weakness in numbers, Guerrilla's probably going to go over to Xbox. And even though Remedy went to PlayStation, and even though Call of Duty went to PlayStation, guess what? That's not been the normal forever. That's been just this generation. Remedy was fucking with Xbox first. Call of Duty was fucking with Xbox first. Xbox, if you become the standard and you set the bar, you take a major you take a major chunk out of Sony. Because before 95, it was Nintendo and Sega. And it was either Nintendo setting it or it was Sega setting it. Then PlayStation came out and said, fuck both of you. And set it. And has been setting it ever since. And if Xbox happens to be the one to come out and set this standard with digital through not only Game Pass, but Xcloud, and it works the right way, then all I gotta do is go out and buy an Xbox small next nutsack, whatever the thing's called, and I'm gonna have games day one, no questions asked, because I have a subscription. I have games that are already stacked on top of each other, and I have already got all that. All I gotta do is buy the damn box. Is basically what it comes down to. This is why PlayStation, I've given you so much shit about PlayStation Now, because Google has failed. Google has failed. But they failed because PlayStation Now is not managed properly. PlayStation, this is your fault and this is your invention. You need to get the blueprint right. You need to be setting the example for this, because if you don't, you have zero excuses to be here. You offer nothing. Okay? Gran Turismo used to be the standard in the 90s and early 2000s. Forza is now. There's two of them. There's Forza and then there's Forza Horizons. Take your pick. Both of them sell great. Alright? For everything you have to ask or say from a Sony aspect, there's an answer either on Nintendo or Xbox. Alright? Well, they have Killzone. Halo. Say anything else. Got Halo. But Killzone, yeah, Killzone on PS4 sucked. Fuck you. It sucked. It looked good, but it sucked. Alright? You know what Killzone people talk about? The one on the Vita, not the one on the PS4. Bring up Killzone at a game store. Just bring it up. You know which one they're going to talk about. It's going to be the one on PS Vita. They're not going to talk about the one on PS4 because it played like garbage. It's trash. Understand me? I don't care if Halo 5 story is garbage. It's still Halo. Still multiplayer with Halo. And that's a huge following that's been there since day one with Xbox. Can't hold a candle to it. You feel what I'm saying? The only thing we don't have, because Phil fucking Spencer doesn't like RPGs, is an answer to Horizon Zero Dawn. But, I mean, you have Zelda on Nintendo. Feel what I'm saying? And I feel like if Nintendo really wanted to be the handheld version with Xbox and then even work with Xcloud, I'm starting to question exactly what in the fuck is PlayStation's purpose. What Sony, what do you bring to the table if not standards, if not, you know, not setting the bar? What do you offer? Well, they have exclusives. Yeah, there's no legacy. There's no exclusive legacy aside from God of War and Gran Turismo. Crash Bandicoot? It's not a legacy to PlayStation anymore. You can get it on Xbox. Crash 4 is day one on Xbox, next to PlayStation. Get the fuck out of here. Spyro. If they ever release a new Spyro that goes along with 1, 2, and 3, Guess what? It's going to be on all the systems, not just PlayStation. These are no longer legacy titles to PlayStation. That's why I'm saying PlayStation's legacy was really damaged this generation. And I mean, from losing titles that helped build them to losing all credibility with their retro systems because they couldn't make a simple plug and play system. I mean, seriously, in 2020, it wasn't in 2020 it happened. This thing came out a couple years ago, and Nintendo had released 2 and successful. Hell, Sega came out with one and was successful. PlayStation came out with one and it was like Fallout 76. Every month there was a price drop. Every week there was a new story about how the system was fucked up just a little bit more. There's a lot of videos on my channel about it. Feel free to go look at it because I couldn't believe how fucking bad this was coming from a company that does nothing but make fucking electronics. Not only do they only make electronics, they fucked up their own electronic. That's how bad it was. So Sony, what do you offer? I ask. Xbox, this is incredible. And the fact that Xcloud is going to be included in Game Pass Ultimate, which is tied in as well with gold. That makes the value way better than anything PlayStation offers. I get hundreds of games for free due to Game Pass. Plus I get 4 games every single month. That's 2 more games than PlayStation for $5 less. $5 less. That's right. If you want PlayStation Now and you want to make sure you have gold, it's going to run you $20. You get Xcloud, Game Pass, and gold for $15. And with Xcloud, you're not tied to your television, which has been a huge deal of mine. I like playing portably, and the fact that I'm not going to be tied to a television and I'm going to be able to play my Xbox without my television, I'm interested in. Highly interested in that. Again, it's $5 less. Sony, you need an answer. And we need to see something. You have no legacy. You have no titles to fall back on. All you have is God of War, and people are getting a little tired of it. We want to see the next one. But unless the next one's as good as the one we got after, and I don't even like that one. I'm just going off of the community here. They love this game. If it's not as good as that, what do you have to offer? Because remember, Gran Turismo used to be the racer. Now it's Forza. Call of Duty is on PlayStation 4 like that, but I don't think it's going to be on PS5 like that. Feel me? And also remember, PlayStation exclusive Street Fighter V, the worst Street Fighter game. They've made some really bad decisions this generation that affect going forward. Okay? I'm not talking about they can't recover. Yes, they can recover from the bad decisions they've made if they turn around and make the right ones. If they come out tomorrow with a press statement saying PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now are a combined service at $15, that's cool. Perfectly fine. You're competitively priced. You're still not offering as much as Xbox, but at least you recognize something. Okay? Because the only thing you could do to remotely even try to get a pulse in the off of your television market is bring a PS Vita 2 out with remote play. Good remote play, like the best remote play you're ever going to experience on a handheld. Bring back those apps like Nier and say every single PlayStation game on every single generation is playable. Not only if you only have the disc and you can plug it in, but also if you have any downloaded games on any PlayStation console that has had that kind of service, it'll be playable on the PS5. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it. You have to come in competitively priced, and you have to answer some way for the Xcloud. PlayStation Now is not really it's not really doing it. And considering it took for you to implement downloading a few titles for PlayStation Now, when you did that, you saw an increase in subscribers. So downloading looks to be the future Xbox. Jump on this, push, and I mean really push this and stand behind it, okay? 100% stand behind this, really push it, show it working, show it really going as crazy as possible, you know what I'm saying? And I think Xbox, you'll be able to take the generation if you do that, and you'll be able to take it without selling any physical copies of anything, because you can come in at under cost, and then you come in at not only at under cost and console price if you do, but then your subscriptions are undercut in cost as well, going against PlayStation. You come out be the cheapest console and have the cheapest subscription fee. Generation's yours. The generation is yours if you do that. Nobody's going to go running to PlayStation for their subscriptions. See what I'm saying? If you manage to keep it at $15 and you manage to keep the Xbox Next thing at a reasonable entry level price and you don't overcharge for the hard drives, your digital marketing and digital future is secure. Just as long as Xcloud works, you win. But you got to have this thing. You have to set the standard, and you have to set it, and you can't back it. You can't drop it. You can raise it, but you can't drop it. If you drop it, you lose. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Take this opportunity. PlayStation has been setting the bar now for 4 generations. They dropped it in 2016. Xbox, you got the chance to pick it up, and you got the chance to force Xbox out the door. Or not Xbox, you got the chance to force Sony out the door. Because I really don't know what they offer anymore. Used to be they were great for Final Fantasy. Used to be they were great for Grand Theft Auto. Used to be they were great for RPGs. Used to be they were great for, even platformers. But that's used to be. That's not today. If they were great for all that, where are they at? Where is NAC 3? Where's another Ratchet and Clank? You see what I'm saying? Where is another freaking Killzone? Where's a better Killzone, for Christ's sakes? You know what I'm saying? Where is Bloodborne 2? You feel what I'm saying? There's no legacy. Uncharted is finished. And from the reception of The Last of Us Part 2, I don't know if they would think about doing a third. I mean, seriously. PlayStation, what do you have to offer? What? If Nintendo becomes friendly with Xbox and they have Xcloud, or at least allow Xcloud, what do you have to offer? Because Xbox is coming out swinging with the most powerful console. So they got power on their side. All they got to do is be good with Nintendo, and then they got the portable market. Especially if they put the cloud on the Switch. If they do that, they have the portable market as well as the TV market. What do you offer to combat that? Because what I'm looking at is paying a lot more money for a lot less and a lot more problems. I didn't mean to make this video this long. I just was watching a video talking about Xcloud and I thought, oh fuck. That could be the thing that Xbox really pushes home with, especially if it works really good. That's the one thing that Xbox could dominate the market with, and it would be Xbox's time to shine as the standard and bar-setting brand as opposed to either Nintendo or PlayStation. And I know Nintendo hasn't set the bar for anything since the mid-90s, but I mean, PlayStation, you could get into handhelds again. But I think you'd have to sell that at a loss. A big loss. I'm talking, your next handheld could be a PS4 in your pocket. You'd have to sell it for $150. because you disrespected the fuck out of us handheld gamers, and we haven't forgotten. Anyway, I'm going to do right there. You guys let me know, what did you think? What do you think? Do you think Xcloud, Game Pass, and Gold being a $15 subscription is a hell of an offer? Is it a shitty offer? Are you excited for it? Are you not? Are you looking forward to the next Xbox, the PS5? What does PlayStation offer moving forward if Xbox sets the bar for the next generation and we go forward into digital gaming? See what I'm saying? So feel free to comment all them things, man. I'll be reading them if I see them. Anyway, I'm out.